Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Nitinamine Om Vishnu Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Nitina Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Brinda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Brinda Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama. Hey, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Gaur Premanande, Shri Harinam Sankirtan ki, Shri Harinam Mantra ki, Shri Harinam Prabhu ki, Gaur Premanande. Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol. Om Agdanatimirandasya Gdananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Dena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadahmayam Dadati Swapadantigham Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Yuta Padakamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatham Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Sadvatutam Rijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dina Bandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi pranamami Hari Priye. Dancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bo. May I have a Bhagavad-Gita? You always have to have a Bhagavad-Gita to be happy in life. It's one of the great secrets. Isn't it? There's something... Thank you very much. Every object has an effect on us in this world. In America, there's a profession called professional organizing. Do you have that in India? Some people are professional organizers because we collect too many things. At least I'll speak for myself. I collect too many things. They just come in my door, actually. People give me things all the time. Don't you get things in the mail? Do you? And then they end up in your house. There's another related industry in America called extra storage. Has that come to India yet? Why are these two things related? Okay, one thing is professional organizers. What a professional organizer does, this is beautiful. Now I have 2 Bhagavad-Gitas. I feel much better. Professional organizer comes to your home, and he or she looks around and starts giving you suggestions about what you can do with all your stuff. You all have any stuff? Yes or yes? Thank you very much. So he or she looks around the house and says, you know, there's too much stuff in here, or you show where you keep all your things that are overpiling. We call filing by piling. You're looking for that document, you're late for work, and you just can't find where it is. Do you ever have that happen, or is it just me? Ever not be able to find your car keys the last minute? Yes? Okay. I feel better. It's not just me. And I talked to a professional organizer once, and she told me that all the extra things that one keeps in one's house, there's a term for them. They're called visual noise. Visual noise. Everyone say visual noise. Visual noise. We don't even know they're there, but they're vying for our attention. And when we get too much stuff, we have to put it in a storage locker. That's the other industry, extra storage. There's not enough in the garage. There's not enough in the drawers, in the closets, overflowing with clothes and other things. Shoes, anybody have any extra shoes? Those can pile up. So then you take it off to a storage locker and you put it in the storage locker and fill that up. And all that's weighing on your mind because you have all this stuff. We keep all these extra things and they distract our attention. So simplicity is a practice. Simplicity. Less is more. Having only what you need for the task at hand. An interesting human form of life and our span of life is an opportunity for something to achieve great things. The Shastra says, Tato Brahma Jignasa. Now you've come to this human form of life, you have an opportunity, a big opportunity. What is your duty? What is your main duty now that you've come to this human form of life and you have some span of life left? What is your duty? That's good to know, isn't it? Because then you can just do it. That's the nice thing about knowing your duty. You just do it. And you feel satisfied. That's pretty simple. When you don't know what your duty is, then you might look all over the world to try to find what is the right place for me. In fact, people do look all over the world to try to find some kind of happiness or duty. And wherever they go, people tell them to go somewhere else. I had this happen to me. I went to Europe 2 years ago, and I noticed as soon as I landed in Germany, there was a sign saying, "Go to Switzerland," right at the airport. As soon as I got to Germany, it said, "Come to Switzerland." And we did go to Switzerland, and in Switzerland, there was another sign that says, "Come to Greece." And when you go to Greece, then they'll say, "Try enchanting India." And when you're in India, you'll see a billboard somewhere that says, "You have to go to Australia." Brahmanda Brahmate Kon Bhagyavan Jeev Guru Krishna Prasade Pai Bhakti Lata Bij. There's a wandering process. Wandering is an interesting verb that we have no aim, no duty. I'm just going. Another word, loitering. You know about loitering? There's signs outside various institutions in America that say no loitering. It means you have nothing to do there. You have no duty there. You're just hanging out, doing nothing. You're loitering, wandering. And that's what happens when you don't have a duty in mind. But when you do, then life is simple. And the duty is tato brahma jignasa. Inquire. That's simple, isn't it? All you have to do is ask. In fact, the human should become a master asker. A master asker. Become a master asker. Questions are powerful. In fact, the question mark is the most powerful punctuation mark in the English language. If you write somebody an email and you don't put a question mark in it, they don't have to write you back. But if you put one tiny little question mark in your email, if they don't write you back, they're remiss in their duty because you asked them a question. A question mark's a hook. It's also a looking glass. It helps you to see things that you didn't see before. And the Shastra says something very simple. You have one duty to do in this life. Atato brahma jignasa. It says, therefore, atato, therefore, because you've tried everything else, this is the implication of the Shastra said. You've tried everything else, you've been everywhere else, you've wandered everywhere else, you've had so many things, and they haven't made you happy, admit it to yourself. Now time to inquire, time to become a master asker. Ask a higher question. What is Brahman? What is the greatest? Who is God? What's my relationship with God? And the most exciting thing about this is if you ask the question, then the answer comes. It's built in. Krishna's there within the heart. Sarvasya chaham hridisannivishto matak smritir jnanam apohanam cha. He's the one behind the consciousness, behind my consciousness. He's supplying everything, like a desire tree. Prahlad Maharaj said, Krishna, you're like a desire tree. You don't consider who's lower or higher. You simply fulfill the desire of the asker. Now, what if you go to a desire tree? Do you all know what a desire tree is, right? A kalpavriksha? If you know what it is, say yes. Okay, it'll fulfill all your desires. Are you ready for this, or are you getting nervous? You feeling a little nervous? I know I am. There's a kalpavriksha tree. My godbrother pointed it out to me. I just came from Mayapur. I just flew in. In fact, I just got off the plane and walked in to this august assembly to be with you. And in Mayapur, my godbrother, Rajendranandan Prabhu, who spends much of his time in Mayapur, he pulled me aside one day and he said, I know where there's a kalpavriksha tree here in Mayapur. And he showed it to me. So every morning on my way to Mangalartik, I'd stop there. But I'd always get a little nervous. Now, what am I going to ask for? So remember, you have to become a master asker. Because what if you ask for the wrong thing when you go to a desire tree? If I go to a desire tree and say, please, let a bag of hammers fall upon my head. If a bag of hammers falls upon my head, whose fault is it? Mine or the desire tree? It's my fault. I asked for the wrong thing. Therefore, you have to become a master. Atato Brahma Jignasa. You must inquire about Brahman because you've tried everything else. This is simplicity. To have the Bhagavad Gita, be satisfied with the Bhagavad Gita. You can become satisfied with the Bhagavad Gita. Then you can have a simple life, a happy life. No visual noise. There's no visual noise or any other kind of noise. Noise means sound which simply distracts. Like that. It's everywhere. I was in South India. I went to several places in South India, and every single place I went, I noticed there's always distraction. But that's natural for the Kali Yuga. Prayanal payasha shabya kalavasminyugejana manda sumanda matayo manda bhagya hupadrita. In the Iron Age of Kali, men have but short lives. They are quarrelsome, lazy, misguided, unlucky, and above all, always disturbed. It's a disturbing age. But in the simplicity of inquiry about the highest truth, who is God? What is the purpose of my life? How to develop my relationship with God? The answers come, and they're so simple but sublime and perfect. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Patram pushpam palam toyam yome bhaktya prayachati taraham bhaktuparitam ashnami pariyatatmanaha. If you offer me with love and devotion a leaf, a flower, a fruit, or water, I will. You can live on that verse for the rest of your life and feel happy. When I first discovered Bhagavad Gita, I was a young man in America. I was in my early teens. And someone gave me a simple copy of the Bhagavad Gita. It just had translations. And I read that verse, and it caught my attention. If you just offer me with love and devotion. And then I was thinking, who am I offering to? Because most of the books that I had ever read said that you are God, we're all God. Pray to God, you are God. And then I thought, how am I praying to myself? Because I really felt the urge to pray to someone, and I thought, how is it that I'm praying to myself? But when it said, offer me with love and devotion, when I saw the M-E, the me, I thought, this is a person. There's a person there asking. And so one day I had an apple. I knew nothing about the pancharatric system of offering a fruit or flower or water. I just knew that I trusted the Bhagavad Gita because it was so sagacious. The language was so simple but deep and perfect. And it spoke to me not just externally but internally as well, that I said, I'm going to offer this apple. And with my heart, I held out the apple and I said, please accept this as an offering. With love, I offer. And I immediately felt reciprocation. I knew nothing about the Vedic culture or any system of offering, but what Krishna said in the Bhagavad Gita, just offer me with love a fruit. And that's what I did. And I felt the reciprocation. Pratyaksha dharmyam, Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, the perfection of religion is directly perceived. It's like when you're hungry and you eat food and you feel nourished and satisfied and your hunger goes away. You know for yourself. And when you have that, it's very simple. I heard there was a play tonight, a drama about the brahmachari who only had one simple possession, kalpans, and he was taking a bath, and then the mouse started taking the kolpin. So then he said, I'll fix this, I'll get a cat to keep away the mouse. And then he found out you had to feed the cat. And so to feed the cat, he had to get a cow. And take care of the cow, which is a lot of work, he decided he'd get a wife. And then the wife said, let's live in a house. And then when you get a house, then you go to the mailbox and you get a bill. I was a brahmachari for 13 years, and I remember when I first got married, I had no idea about apartments or telephones or anything like that. Because when I joined, I didn't have any of those things. I left my home, my parents, and I went right into the ashram. And I remember the first day I realized I was in Los Angeles, and that they told me I'd have to pay $800 a month. That was a lot back then. $800 a month to pay for this apartment, simple apartment. And I signed the contract, and I was walking away, I was thinking, where am I going to get $800 a month? And I told somebody, this seems very complicated, get $800 a month. And they said, oh, that's nothing. Wait till you see the phone bill and the insurance, and then you have to buy your own food. And on the way home, because I heard that you performed this drama. Who was in the drama? Any of the devotees in here? They're back there? I heard it was about this subject matter, and I looked up the word simplicity in the dictionary. I like to look up words because it's good to know what you're talking about. I thought that this drama related to this concept of simplicity. And just hearing the word simplicity makes me feel better. Does it make you? Simplicity? Prabhupada used to tell us that you only need a few things in life to be happy. One is a place to lie down to sleep. Just 6 feet of land, or maybe a little more sometimes. And you need some service. And one more thing. Place to lie down, service, and one more thing. What is it? Prasad. Little prasad. That's a happy life. You look at a brahmachari ashram, there's no extra stuff. And there's no visual noise. No distractions. So I'm going to read you the definition of simplicity. The state of being simple, uncomplicated, or uncompounded. Freedom from pretense or guile. This is another kind of complication in life that is talked about in the Srimad Bhagavatam. Queen Kunti says, Janmaishvarya Shritashibir Edamana Madapuman Naivarhat Yabidatum Vai Tvama Kinchana Gocharam. That if you want to approach Krishna with sincere feelings, then you should give up the intoxication of thinking that you have something. This is actually a very nice exercise, especially if you enter into this realm of consciousness just before you chant your japa. How many devotees here have the privilege of chanting a little bit of japa in the morning? It's such a nice practice. You can repeat the names of God every morning and find yourself a nice, quiet, sacred place in your home. And if you just repeat the names of God, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare, you'll feel satisfaction. And I heard my godbrother Kalakanta Prabhu the other day when he was giving class in Mayapur, someone asked him, he said, why is it that my I don't feel satisfaction when I chant, and my mind is disturbed, and it goes here, there, and every place. He said, because you haven't experienced happiness within your heart, and therefore your mind is still searching here and there to find it. I thought of it, when he said that, I thought of it like a router. You know when you open your computer, and then your computer starts searching for an internet connection? Those little lines, it's looking and seeing what available networks are there. The mind's kind of like that, I thought. You know, it's always looking for an available network to hook into. There's little lines going up and down. It's like, search for available networks. And the whole world's full of available networks. But they're not all so nice. Get on the wrong network and you'll just feel frustrated. But if you're connected properly, then you'll feel satisfied. So in order to feel this kind of satisfaction, give up this distraction of thinking I have something. Queen Kunti says, become akinchan. Akinchan means something, and akinchan means I don't have anything. Say, I don't have anything. How does that feel? Much better, right? There was once this movie star in California. His house burned down in a big fire in Malibu. His name's Sean Penn. And he said, he was being interviewed on the radio after the big fire. And the interviewer, Terry Gross, asked him, so, you know, how does it feel to have all your house burned down and all your stuff gone? He said, well, you know all those letters that are always, you know, in your desk that you mean to write back to somebody, and all the bills you're meaning to pay, and there's so many drawers that you were meaning to clean out and take care of someday, and those items you thought you were going to fix. And she said, yeah. And he said, I don't have those anymore. They're just gone. Akinchan is our actual real state. We don't really have anything. We're only passing through this world. I was with my mother when she passed away from this world. I spent the last 5 days of her life. I was by her bedside. And I remember when she passed away, it was in her own house. And I was noticing, just as she passed, that she left everything behind. She had collected art and books most of her life. And the house was full of all these items. And when she left, just left them all behind. And I was remembering how all of us are like that. We come into the world with nothing, we leave it with nothing, and while I'm here, I become entangled in many of these complexities, thinking I have something. So before you chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, meditate, fix your mind on this concept, akinchan. I don't have anything. Krishna, even my breath, my very thought, ability to think is coming from you. I am helpless. And then begin to chant Hare Krishna and call out to Krishna like a child who is completely helpless. Without parents, the little baby will die. And we're like that too. Without Krishna, we'll die. And if we chant like that, then we'll experience actual satisfaction. And if we read Bhagavad-Gita with that open-mindedness, open-heartedness, with a feeling that I'm dependent on Krishna's instructions, let the instructions go in. Let them come into our intelligence. We'll feel satisfied. This is real satisfaction. There are many definitions to simplicity, but there was one of them particularly that we noticed that I want to read to you. And that is, free of secondary complications. Secondary complications. It means that, as Prahlad says in his prayers to the Lord Nrsingadev, oftentimes when you try to cure a disease, the cure is worse than the disease itself. In fact, in America, there are the companies that are producing lots and lots of new cures for various ailments. And when they sell these medicines, at the bottom of the list, there's a lot of fine print. And in it, they say, you may experience the following symptoms from taking this medicine, including heartburn, dizziness, confusion, death. They just have to tell you all these things. It may cure your disease, but it may cause death, dizziness, confusion, heartburn, and so on. So the nature of this world is complicated. And Krishna consciousness is a way of simplifying our life. It doesn't mean you have to give up everything, but the Shastra says that if you eat to live but don't live to eat, and you use the balance of your time to inquire about God and about the highest thing in life, Krishna, and our relationship with Him, then you'll feel real satisfaction. Om Tat Sat. Now I'll take any questions or reflections. Reflection means any one thing that you heard so far that's stuck in your mind that you can use, or if you have a question, please ask. Start with reflections. Yes?
You talked about the visual noise.
Visual noise. I talked about visual noise.
Clarify further how it disturbs devotion.
How does visual noise destroy or disturb devotion? Well, devotion is a very subtle state of mind. And I can achieve a devotional state of mind actually by removing the extraneous aspects of my life, things that I don't need. When I'm focused on service to Krishna, then I'll actually feel my connection, I'll feel satisfied. And in thinking about my service, it's helpful to be one-pointed. Therefore, the Shastra says, Tasmad ekena manasa bhagavan sattvatam pati shrotavya kirtitavyascha dhyeya pujaschcha nityada. That with one-pointed attention, one should hear, chant, remember Krishna. And when there are other kinds of distractions, it's very difficult to fix the mind. If you chant japa and you're looking at the computer screen at the same time, what kind of devotion is there? Do you want me to prove it? Do you want me to prove it? That it's, or demonstrate how it's an interruption to the devotional process when there are distractions, or when my attention is going to other things besides Krishna's names? Yes or yes? Okay. So just ask me another question. Do you have the microphone still? Or tell me about where you're from. What's your name? Where are you from? What's your name?
My name is Krishna Das.
And where are you from?
I am from
Hold on.
Mira Road.
No, just hold on. Okay, go ahead. Oh yeah, right. And what do you do for a living? What's your profession?
I am
1 second.
marketing.
What did you say? Hare Krishna.
Thank you, I got convinced.
In fact, if you're talking to someone and they just look at their watch, you ever have this happen? If we were talking and I looked at my watch, oh, he's got to go. In fact, people do that all the time. It's like, oh, you have to go, right? No, I was just looking at my watch. No, you really have to go. That's the power of consciousness. It's such a subtle thing that in 1 second, if you divert your attention, that's what you are. You're a unit of attention, actually. And attention is directed by intention. And therefore, when you direct your attention somewhere, you're expressing love. And when when you direct your attention to the holy name and you don't move it anywhere else, and when it moves somewhere else, you bring it back to the holy name, this is a relationship. This is really love. And if there are distracting factors in your life, including visual noise, including extra baggage, I'm thinking that I'm something. I'm very important. Very difficult to chant the holy name in that way. And Lord Chaitanya said that if you become humble, very humble, like a blade of grass, and you're ready to give respects to others and not take any respect for yourself, then you can actually enter into this very deep realm. This is real happiness in life. Otherwise, my life becomes externalized. I'm dependent on a false conception of life that I have to have some status. Our real status is servant of Krishna. Bhaktivedanta Thakur says very simply, Jeev Krishna Das e Bishwash Korle Tor or Tuko Nai. If you just take this conception that I'm a servant of Krishna, then all your unhappiness will go away. You'll feel satisfied. So, concentrating on, with one pointed attention on reading the Bhagavad-Gita, this is a way to develop a relationship with Krishna. Give your love through your attention to the Bhagavad-Gita. And you'll feel that direct relationship with Krishna. Many people have the Bhagavad-Gita. Many people's parents have read the Bhagavad-Gita. But not many people enter into a relationship with the Bhagavad-Gita, with Krishna in the Bhagavad-Gita. But that's why he spoke it. So that by our listening with one pointed attention to the Bhagavad-Gita, we could actually have a loving relationship with him. That's what's available. That's a simple life. In fact, if you develop this feeling that I don't need anything else except a quiet place to read the Bhagavad-Gita, then you're a happy person. You become a Sukhinara. Sukhinara means a happy human. Shaknoti haiva yashodhum praksharira vimokshanat kama krododbhavam begam sayukta sa Sukhinara. Sounds Japanese. I know, I go to Japan. I speak a little Japanese. I tell that to them in Japan. They say, yeah, that's Japanese. But it's universal. How to become a happy human. It's a simple thing. If you develop a taste, a love for the Bhagavad-Gita, that I can sit down and just appreciate it, just appreciate the Bhagavad-Gita, then you don't need anything else. You don't have to go shopping. Shopping's a disturbance. I don't do it anymore. It always leads to something else. Wrong size, got to take it back. In America, people go shopping like crazy around Christmas time, and then the next day, everyone takes everything back. Take it back. And then there's buyer's remorse. Do you ever hear of that? Buyer's remorse. People want to buy something. And as soon as they buy it, they think, I shouldn't have bought it. It was too expensive. It wasn't the right color, and their mind is agitated like anything. But your mind doesn't get agitated when you read Bhagavad Gita. When you give your pure, directed attention, think about the word. It has the word, the root ten, like tendon. Tendon holds together my bones. Attention, intention. It connects me to the object, my intention, my attention. It connects me to Krishna, my attention. I'm connected to Krishna through my attention. And all you have to do is give attention to the Bhagavad Gita, and Krishna will reciprocate through the pages. So someone who's experiencing this will start to move the visual noise out of their life, to make life simple, so they can give more and more attention to in the places that really nourishes their heart, to their japa, to the reading of Bhagavad Gita, to their service. Doesn't mean that we throw everything away, but the Shastra says, kamasya nendriya pritir, labo jivete yavata, jivasya tattva jignasya, narto yashcheha karma bi. That just take the things that you need. And Krishna says in the Bhagavad-Gita, yadrichya labasantushto. Now this is a great practice. Brahmachari is already doing this. Householders, this is, I've been a householder for 27 years, and practicing this is very nice. Yadrichya means things that come of their own accord. Be satisfied with them. Practice that. Things that come naturally without you having to endeavor for them. Just be satisfied with that. It's 2:43. This is my first time being here on a Sunday, so I'm not sure how things go. Okay. Another question or a reflection?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
In 15th chapter, we use a word, Kutastha Aksharam Uchyate. What is the meaning of Kutastha over here?
In the 15th chapter of the Gita?
Yeah.
Which verse are you referring to?
Probably 16th or 17th, probably. I'm not sure. Sorry.
Yeah, 15, 16?
It is something like this. Kutastha Aksharam Uchyate. Kutastha.
I just happen to have a Gita here. Okay, 15. Dvavimau purusha loke shara evacha shara sarvani bhutani kutasto shara uchite.
Exactly, sir.
There are two classes of beings, the fallible and the infallible. In the material world, every living entity is fallible, and in the spiritual world, every living entity is called infallible. And so what's your question?
I just want to understand what is the meaning of Kutastha over here.
Kutasto. In oneness. The word kutastha is, in the word-for-word translation, Prabhupada is put in oneness.
Oneness with the Almighty.
Yeah. In oneness with Krishna means that the I and you become we. In fact, a wonderful lecture the other day by in Mayapur. I forgot who was giving the lecture. He was pointing out that the servant of the master is more one with the master than the master is with himself, because he was saying that Lord Nityananda was more one with Lord Chaitanya than Lord Chaitanya was one with himself. Philosophical point. But the point is, if you have this complete absorption in serving your master, you know what your duty is, and you fix your mind on that duty, then your only purpose in life is to serve the order of the master. And then you become one with the master in purpose. And when there's love, when there's actually love, the two become one in purpose. So this is the the way to actually connect with Krishna and become one with Krishna is to take the direct order, the order of Krishna. And Prabhupada writes in the second canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam in a purport, and it's in the purport to Ritartam Yat Prateyata in the Chatushlok Bhagavatam. He says that the direct order of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is a manifestation of His internal potency. And it is by that particular potency that one comes to see the Lord face to face. I'll say it one more time. It is the direct order of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is a manifestation of His internal potency. And it is by that potency that one comes to see the Lord face to face. That means you become one with Krishna, and you can come to see Krishna face to face if you embrace His order. Krishna gives the order in the Bhagavad-Gita, What orders does Krishna give in the Bhagavad-Gita? This is like, it sounds like when Parikshit Maharaj sat down in the Ganga and there were all these sages that are all saying something. Everyone, so someone who's decisive, has a decisive answer, say it very loudly and clearly. Give an order that Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita. Okay, I'm hearing this now. Sarva dharman parityaja mam ekam sharanam braja aham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshayishami masuchaha. This verse gives instant relief if we embrace it. Krishna says, abandon every other kind of religious idea, just surrender to me. Don't worry, don't hesitate, don't fear. Masuchaha. This is what we call sweet surrender. And when you surrender to Krishna's order, then your life becomes one-pointed. And you become one with Krishna in your purpose. Vyavasayatmika bhuti means you have one idea how to serve Krishna. Another question? Yes.
Thank you, Roji. Wonderful. Actually, many times, even in devotionals,
See?
Hare Krishna.
It's Kali Yuga. It always happens. In fact, you know, back many years ago, not that long ago, telephones used to be stuck to the wall. You couldn't carry them with you, so they couldn't drive you completely crazy. But now we carry them everywhere. Ring, ring, bong, bong, ding, ding, dong, dong. And then, you know, somebody, hi, Prabhupada had a telephone installed in his room. It was a new thing. And in New York, and then a couple of disciples called him late at night and he said, yes, and they said, how are you, Swamiji? And the next day, Prabhupada said, take the phone out.
Yeah, many times, even in the devotional circle, we tend to accumulate so many like material, like, you know, videos, devotional videos, and kirtans, lectures. So I felt, sometimes I feel like, you know, this is also visual noise. Many times we are so much caught up into gathering the things rather than hearing and applying in our life.
It's a nice point.
So
it's a nice point. Actually, there are so many instructions in Bhagavad Gita and in Srimad Bhagavatam, and I share your feeling. I do. Oftentimes I think if you just take one simple concept and apply it, application is so satisfying, and that's where you really get traction in spiritual life. Apply one thing perfectly. Like you can go to the austerities of speech in the 17th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, and Krishna says, speak truthfully, beneficially, avoid speech that offends. Don't take all three, just take one. Which one would you like? Speak truthfully, beneficially, avoid speech that offends. Which one would you like? Let's vote. Number one is truthfully. Raise your hand if you want that one. 2 people, okay. Beneficially, speak beneficially. Who votes for that one? This is going to be our homework, so come on, vote. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. Avoiding speech that offends. All those who are abstaining. Abstentions? A couple abstentions. Okay, we got to get a consensus here. Let's vote on it. I want a unanimous consent. We'll take avoiding speech that offends. Would you all take that as homework? Raise your hand if you're in. Okay, so Krishna says, speak truthfully, beneficially, avoid speech that offends. So for the next 24 hours, we're all going to, whatever we speak, we'll avoid speech that offends others. What do you think? Are you thinking about it now? That's practical, isn't it? This is nice. You can take an instruction and apply it. Actually apply it to your life. And if you do that, you'll find satisfaction. And there is a way in which I collect so many verses. In fact, it says in the Chaitanya Charitamrita that if you become a bookworm and you collect all kinds of shastra and you learn all kinds of shlokas, And your intention is different. Your intention is that you're going to sit up and go, Om Vishvam Vishnu Vashatkaro Bhuta Bhavya Babat Prabhu Bhuta Bridbara Bhubabu Bhuta Mahapurabhavanaha Bhuta Mahaparamatmacha Muktanam Paramagatihi. You know, if it's not well intentioned, if it's not to connect to Krishna, simple devotion. We're looking for simple devotion. How to please Krishna internally. How to please Krishna. And Tapana Mishra, he's an example given in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, is he not? He read so many different books and so many shastras, and he was confused. So he came to Lord Chaitanya and said, what do I do? Lord Chaitanya said, chant Hare Krishna. Simple. So apply something. Become very fixed on your japa. This is one good place to make advancement. Become expert at that. Or Bhagavad-Gita. And apply some simple things. Too much collecting of knowledge is a detriment to devotional service. It can come under the category of atyahara. Nice point. Yes. Here comes the microphone.
Prabhuji, you said we should be satisfied with things that come naturally in our life. So, if we depend on things which are coming naturally, then there is less endeavor. And if there is less endeavor, then does it call to inaction and laziness in our part? If it start thinking that let things happen naturally and then I will accept it. So, is it really calls for inaction and laziness?
Well, one thing is things do come of their own accord. But we have to notice it. I override the natural things in my life that come. Good intelligence comes, good water comes, prasadam comes, houses, wealth, everything we need comes. But I miss it because I'm trying to do it my way. And the spirit of this verse, yadrishya labhasantushto, is to start noticing, at least start noticing and appreciating how things come of their own accord. Don't chase so many extra things. Start to eliminate some of the extra things that you're chasing that you think you need. Analyze it. Be a little bit introspective and notice, what do I really need? Try to winnow out those things that I don't really need. And then notice that actually Krishna is taking care of everything. What to speak of somebody who's dedicating their life to thinking of Him and spreading His message and so forth. Even if they do it occasionally, that they're very dear to Krishna and He will take care. And so you develop a relationship with Krishna by noticing these things and being grateful. Gratitude really helps in this whole process. Because what happens in the mind is the mind always wants the next thing. Someone gives me $1 million. And the next thing the mind thinks is, why didn't he give me 2 million? Because the guy has $1 billion. And what's it to him? You know, he could have given me 2. And after all, and now how am I going to pay taxes on this? And you know, you're not satisfied. The mind's not satisfied. Gratitude's very powerful. Be grateful for what you have right now. And then notice that I have so much. The problem is in material consciousness, we live in scarcity all the time. Because whatever I have now, it's not enough. It's always got to be more. And then there's worry. Throw in worry. Worry means I'm running a video that, you know, in the future I'm not going to have enough. But you're okay. You're all right right now. You're fine. You're always okay right now. Even in the midst of a crisis, you're still okay. So it's a cultivation. It's an inner cultivation. It's Krishna, a very merciful thing. Yadrichya labhasantushto. Become satisfied with things that have come of their own accord. And if you're quiet enough, if you start looking internally enough, you'll see it's already there. You're getting everything you need. You can become satisfied. And when you see a person who's actually satisfied, you feel astounded. You go, oh, I see. It's simple. Life is simple. It's not complicated. It's not so difficult. Where, on the other hand, Krishna describes a kama-kami. Kama-kami means I chase after material desires. I try And in material life, I try to create more of them because I think this is the actual source of my happiness, is chasing after them. And therefore, he compares the person who is peaceful to be an ocean. And even though there's so many desires rushing in, like rivers, the ocean doesn't become disturbed, so we don't become disturbed. And interestingly, that the desires are there. They may be entering in to my mental system, but I have to learn to be introspective and notice that I don't need to chase them. And Krishna, there's so much technology in the Bhagavad-Gita. Dhyayato vishayan pumsam sangasteshu pajayate. You can live on this. Dhyayato vishayan pumsam. Krishna says, if you contemplate the objects of the senses, you'll develop a sangha with them. You'll become attached to them. That means you have to live with them now. That's yours. You got to take it with you wherever you go. Do you want that? Do you really want that? You don't need that. You need Bhagavad Gita. You need the holy name. You need a quiet place to sit down and appreciate. Just that's what we are. We're souls. We appreciate things. That's why we exist, to appreciate Krishna and all of his energies. The whole universe is full of taste. And the more we expand our appreciating capacity, the more we feel satisfied. Appreciate. So it's a wonderful thing to do. Just start to analyze your life. What kinds of things do I need, don't need, and appreciate the things that you have. And whatever you appreciate, appreciates. It's like money in the bank, appreciates when you're getting a good interest rate. Through gratitude, through appreciation, the assets you have now, they'll grow. It's good enough. What you have is good enough. What you are is good enough. This is sattva gun. See, in rajagun, I'm convinced that I have to get something more. Isn't it? Whatever I am, it's not good enough. There's always a next step. I'm a freshman, now I have to become a junior, now I have to become a senior. And whatever interest rate I'm getting now, get a little bit more, everything increase. But in sattva gun, I realize something very profound. I don't have to become something because I already am something. I exist. That's what sattva means. I see that I exist. And when do I exist? Always. And I'm always in the present. I'm always existing. You exist. That's big news. You should go out and tell people. Guess what? I exist. That's big news. Because in the lower modes of nature, I think I might not exist. I might lose my existence. But just coming to this mode of goodness, you can become satisfied anywhere at any time because I'm okay. I exist. I'm happy. Brahma bhuta prasanatma na shochati na kankshati samak sarveshu bhuteshu madbhaktim labate param. This is satisfaction. That you see that you don't need anything because you already are something. You're connected to the supreme personality of Godhead. You're his part and parcel. You only have one duty: inquire, do service. Little simple things, simple devotion, so powerful. And if you have that, you have everything. And if you don't, then it's constant, trying to get more and more. Thank you for such a nice question. Hare Krishna. Now it's 3 o'clock. I can't tell you what a pleasure it is to be here. And just very, very happy to be here. I was just had the privilege of being with His Holiness Radhanath Maharaj when I was in Mayapur. We were at these meetings. It was called the SGGS. They got together a lot of the leaders of the movement. Somehow or other I snuck in. And they were just discussing over 5 days, where are we in ISKCON? How to make it better? And, it's a good idea to get together and talk. So we had the privilege of being with a lot of the ISKCON leaders over the last 5 days and just spending time talking about how to make improvements and so forth. And I was thinking about coming back here because I came here on the way to Mayapur. And all of you are doing something that is being noted all over the world, that is practicing this simple devotion. And you know, you can be in one place anywhere in the world, and if you practice this simple devotion, it will be noted around the universe. You'll make a difference. You don't have to go anywhere, you just have to perfect what you have right now where you are. I'll just give one last example, and then I'll stop. I was walking in New York City with a friend, Kaustubha Prabhu, and he was showing me around the city, because I lived there for 3 years when I was a brahmachari, and I knew nothing about the city. I only knew about how to get to my Sankirtan spot and come back. So he was showing me New York City for my first time, and he was noting these gigantic high-rise buildings. And he said at one point, these sprang up all over New York City, and before that it was a very simple town with small buildings, only 2 stories maximum. He said, what made the difference? Why did this happen all of a sudden? So I speculated. I said, well, it must have been technological. He said, yes, but what was the technology that changed everything? I said, I have no idea. And he said it was steel cable. He said a man invented flexible steel cable, because before then you couldn't have more than 2 stories because you needed an elevator, and there was not rope strong enough to pull these elevator cars up and down and last. And then when this one man invented flexible steel cable, they were able to go many, many stories high. He was sitting in one place doing his one duty, which was to figure out how to make flexible steel cable. And not only did New York change, but the whole world changed in a significant way. And I thought about that, how it applies to our own life and simplicity in itself. And that is, if you take your simple duty, the one tiny little thing that you need to do, and you perfect it, one instruction from the Bhagavad-Gita, and you live in it, you perfect it, it can change the whole world. And that's what Prabhupada did. He came in a simple way, presented Krishna consciousness, but it was in a perfect way because it was devotional. And that changes everything. Hare Krishna, Om Tat Sat. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna.